Americans, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word Canada? How do you get 100 Canadians out of a swimming pool? Ask nicely. Their flag. It's just so clean and well designed. Canadian flag is my most favorite flag, and I don't even live there. I think my top 5 definitely includes the Canadian flag, the newer iterations of the US flag. The older ones just have too murky of colors for my liking. Germany, it's the most iconic of the stripes flags for me, and definitely stands out the most. India and Israel, it has the same simple colors appeal that Canada does for me. It's been our flag since 1965. Amazing wildlife, amazing nature, and a nation full of beautiful friendly people. My friendly neighbors to the north are modern, organized, educated, hopelessly technological people interested in peace and stability. Maple syrup, skiing, moose, hockey, weird bacon, you know, Canada stuffs. We eat regular bacon. You guys just sell each other ham by labeling it Canadian bacon. A cool brother. You're always a step ahead of us in everything. You help out when we need it, and you don't snitch on us when you know we did something wrong. You just offer advice and show us different options. In what way are they a step ahead? Not from USA, but I think of Deadpool when I hear Canada sometimes. Moose riding syrup drinking lumberjacks. I can assure you moose do not like to be ridden. Take off, you hoser. Cooloo-coo, coo-coo-coo. Cuckoo are also Jeddy Lee and the Gretzky. Terrence and Phillip. Viva la Resistance. Full denim outfits aka the Canadian tuxedo. Canada Gooses, but that's because of Letterkenny. You got a problem with Canada Gooses. You got a problem with me. I suggest you let that one marinate. Honestly, the South Park movie. Canadians blow up the Baldwins. Blame Canada. Second your dreamy PM Justin Trudeau. 10 years ago, we were known for Pamela Anderson. Now we are just known for Justin Bieber, but everyone on this thread is too embarrassed to admit it. Maybe 5 years ago, but he's not really so relevant anymore. A boot, a maple syrup, hockey, in that order. I think of overly idealistic people who threaten to move to Canada every presidential election year if the Republican candidate wins. I'm sure that Canada is a fantastic country, but please don't fetishize it and treat it like a backup option. Every country has problems. That serial killer with the pig farm, the other one that hid the bodies in gardens, the stretch of freeway with active serial killers the government refuses to do anything about. Cold, but I hear the summer month is great. People driving around in cars with square wheels. Now the Canadian government has apologized for Bryan Adams on several occasions. Canadian wrestlers Luke Edge, Bret Hart, and Trish Stratus. I'm going there at Memorial Day weekend for the first time. All their teams aren't winning the Stanley Cup. Toronto has great people and culture. I got detained at the border once. I'm not allowed to go to Canada anymore. Is literally my only opinion on Canada. Not American, but Shawn Mendes is the first thing that comes to mind whenever someone says Canada. The bobbleheads from South Park singing "Oh Canada." Robin Sparkles' "Let's go to the mall everybody." A moose covered in flannel licking maple syrup off of a hockey puck and then apologizing for it. As a Canadian, I find this image oddly arousing. America's Ned Flanders to the north. That nice neighbor you don't really deserve but have anyway. I live close to the Canada-US border and the first thing I think of is when we go up there to get strawberries. The Canadian flag, and then maple syrup MMM. That scene from Lizzie McGuire where Gordo sings "Oh, Canada." Complacent and also complaisance. Let's go to the mall today. A moment of terror as I think about how big and aggressive moose are. I have a friend who's Canadian. Used to talk a fuck ton, but got into pretty big argument in January. Now rarely talk, miss that guy. How I accidentally call it Canada every time I say it. Flappy heads, thanks South Park. The northern border, particularly in the Midwest, it's a lot more wide and open than the southern border, but doesn't cause any issues. It also reminds me of the scene in Stuart Little 2 where the teacher says, and Canada is separate from the United States, because Canadians like to be alone. Along most of it, you can just stroll across without even knowing it. MFS helped Britain during the War of 1812. Home. I'm moving there permanently in a couple months. No one going bankrupt because they can't afford medical treatment or dying due to lack of affordable healthcare. The Royal Canadian Kilted Yaxman song from Ren and Stimpy. My favorite band. Sorry for saying sorry and for not having maple syrup. Tim Hortons. The better Starbucks. Bacon, maple syrup, that kind of stuff. People confusing us Upers with Canadians. I'm not Canadian. The beautiful farm in the show Heartland. That I would love to live there except winter. Red and white, I just think of the flag. Maple syrup, sorry polar bears, ice hockey, lumberjacks, pancakes, moose, plaid shirts, what they did to the natives, did I get them all? A make your own flag somebody made, that I saw online a while ago. That one episode of iCarly where Spencer brought home Canadian bacon and everyone was annoyed that it was just ham. Maple syrup, or those two moose from Brother Bear. Oh Canada sung to the tune of Oh Christmas Tree. Adolescence was an interesting time. Maple leaves, Niagara Falls, and cold weather. Poutine, why don't they sell it in Florida? Equals. My friend who lives in Canada. My pal, Jimmy. He was from Canada. Great guy. He's really good at cornhole. A group of nature enthusiastic people wearing flannels and enjoying an icy cold day. Linus Sebastian socks and sandals. Moose, maple syrup, healthcare, poutine. Labbits, Molson, John Candy correcting autocorrect. And deep unserious voice beginning the Canadian national anthem. I know the Star Spangled Banner from choir NHS, but don't know anything past Canada. Our Canadian cabin neighbors were just south of the border. Accents. The dreaded land that separates the united people from their comrades in the other side of a desolate land with blinding winds and fierce blizzards. The glorious tales go as we negotiate to free our peoples, they say, and I quote, sorry mate, but we can't do that. Like some maple syrup, It's not a thing, rather a question. What is the plural for moose? Every time I think of Canada, I think of this song. Sorry, and very friendly. Cold, stop bringing it here, I want warmth, I live in a state next to Canada. I thought of maple syrup, then Ontario. Syrup, Toronto, and bagged milk. This really attractive Canadian on campus. A bunch of hoses going to Timmy's. A cute long-haired brunette woman. Maple syrup and crepes. Grandma makes them all the time. I'm French Canadian, so yeah. Across the water. I live in Michigan, and the town I live in, I think, has the only bridge to Canada. I thought it was cool. My best buddy, he lives in Canada. Darmix. For some reason Darmix. Couples for 26 years and counting. Mulvana, Canada's first animation studio. Why do you have to stop in Canada to go from mainland USA to Alaska and vice versa? Nice people and reasonable healthcare. The way they pronounce anything with a you like about. James Paxton, I might love baseball and have a man crush on him. Snow, woods, husky middle-aged white guys in layered coats over a flannel shirt and wearing one of those floppy hats. Northern Americans by like less than 15 miles. Terrible drivers, mostly from BC. Canada is half of North America. Lots of open space, fir trees, mooses. Red-green listening to Rush in the yard from For Better or For Worse.